Welcome to Bubba Rob's Carnivore Journey.
Hello everybody, it's Bubba Rob here. How's it going? Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to everybody. Yeah, talk about today. I got a couple things to talk about. One is, well, first of all, I got to thank Graham for Carnivore Transformer for my interview this morning. And I had a great night Friday night with JT, and I believe it was last Monday or Tuesday I was talking to Carnivore Scott on his channel. So if anybody out there is listening, please give them a big subscribe and stuff like that. They're good people. The thing I like most about all three of them, they're very honest. They're very concerned about people and how they're doing. Great people. Okay, that'd be fantastic. My first story, it's kind of two stories into one. The first I'm going to talk about, I went and got I've got three medical opinions of what's happened to my tests. Well, I'm going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about what happened at the pharmacy when I was going to get my gout medication. Boy, I was mad last night. And I'm going to talk about where it was at, but it's not to slag where I was at. It's to show that when they had a bad employee, they did the right thing. Okay? So don't take it the wrong way when I get to it. Okay. So now I've had a second hand, well, three opinions now on my tests. You know, my blood tests, and I guess it was an ECG, not an EKG, pardon me. That's what the doctor said to me on the phone, but I didn't quite understand. But, you know, I've done quite a bit of digging around, and I've been texting Nurse Kim quite a bit, and she's, you know, giving me a lot of information, and which I greatly appreciate. So I totally understand what was going on. But anyways, I'm going to start with this about, I'd say a good 20 years ago. Actually, no, 24, 25 years ago. It was before my son was born. I had an incident where they thought I was having a heart attack. They never did rule it out, but when I went through all these tests, they found out I had an enlarged aortic root, and they believed that was caused from when I was squatting heavy and doing the powerlifting and stuff. And you know, back then the way the cardiologist spoke to me, you know, it quite scared the crap out of me. And you know, it's always been in the back of my mind. But basically what the cardiologist did, because he didn't understand how you know, that aspect of athletics and whatnot, he basically gave me a fear of God thing, and I shouldn't do any weight training and all this stuff. And you know, it wasn't a good thing. But you know, later on, then I was on this radio show. It was Dr. Merkin out of the States, actually. I phoned in, and he told me that there was nothing wrong with what my tests were, and that the cardiologist kind of put the fear of God in me. It was called the white coat syndrome, and he didn't really inform me properly what I needed to do. So anyway, so for, you know, every couple of years I'd go in and get an EKG done, and you know, they'd put the paddles on, and I've had the test where they inject the dye and whatnot, and everything was good, and it wasn't growing, and then they stopped. So fast forward to now, when I had that test done at the lab, according to 2 out of the 3 doctors that I've talked to, is that any abnormality she's found in my heart rate was probably the result of that, and asked me if I was exhibiting any symptoms. Well, the one doctor that, kind of read me the riot act, I was looking at the notes that I was sent, and he admitted some of the things he told me, which I think is rather unfortunate. But then I had the last doctor I spoke to a couple of days ago. It was on a teleconference thing with TELUS Health. She was an absolute sweetheart, very, very kind. She basically wrote me a ton of notes. Went very in depth on what she felt actually happened and what she saw. And she made a few comments to me that I guess she didn't really put in there, but basically what she told me, that the worst thing I was told, that I shouldn't be exercising and lifting the weights. She said she wouldn't be lifting heavy weights until I'm seen by the cardiologist. But she said the most important thing for me to do is actually to continue to exercise, because it's to do with heart health, and because the other results, like my cholesterol and stuff, were decent. That she couldn't understand why the doctor told me that I had a blockage. She says he can't tell. We can't look inside your chest. We have no idea. She said you could have, but if you had it, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. So, that put me quite at ease, quite a bit, and whatnot. And I really appreciated her candor. And I know doctors aren't out to sink other doctors' boats, but she was pretty blunt that what I was told that really shouldn't have been said to me, and also that the technician that did the tests should have said nothing. And if there was something really seriously wrong, I shouldn't have been allowed to leave. So anyway, so I'm alive. I'm doing good. Hopefully everything's good. It's going to take, I was told in an email, of somewhere between 4 weeks to 4 months to get in to see the cardiologist. So I'm going to head back to the gym tomorrow. So I'm just going to do it, whatever. I mean, I was doing it before the test. I mean, what can I do? I don't know what I'm going to do. Am I going to feel sorry for myself and not live? Screw that. That's just not going to happen. I'm on this journey and I'm going to pound my way through it. But I'm also going to be cognizant and take precautions to make sure to mitigate any things that could go wrong. Okay. The only bad thing I really came up from the test, the way I understand it now, was my uric acid level is really quite high. Now, I find that kind of disturbing. Obviously, me doing this diet isn't curing gout if my uric acid level is that high. So anyways, I was given a script for medication for allopurinol and colchicine, actually. They're pretty harsh. But, I'm having a real hard time functioning, walking and stuff like that. So, they actually sent the prescription in to Costco. Now, before I get into this, I'm telling you right now, I'm not shitting on Costco at all. They did a really good thing last night, and I really want you people to know this, because this is just as important as anything, because it's about a big business treating their customers with respect, okay? So anyways, that prescription was sent in like 2 days before I went in last night. And I could barely walk. And my son was with me, and I was holding on to that sharp shopping cart, and we went and bought our meat, and we were getting an iPad Air for the YouTube channel. So there's basically $1,000 in our cart. So on the way out, I go to the pharmacy to get my prescriptions. And I'm telling you, I was in so much pain last night. It was brutal. And they told me that it wasn't ready. 2 days. They had 2 days. It wasn't ready. So I asked them, I said, why isn't it ready? Well, you hadn't phoned in to reconfirm it. I said, well, why would I do that? It was faxed you by Telus. And they sent me an email that it was in and it should be ready to be picked up. Well, anyways, I started getting some double talk, and they said, well, they changed their whatever, how they do things. And I said to the young lady, and I was pretty polite at this point, and I said, I'm in a lot of pain. I need that stuff filled out now. She says, well, there's only a half an hour left. You're going to have to wait till tomorrow morning. I said, no, that's not happening. I said, I'm getting it before I leave here. I'd like to speak to the pharmacist. So my son was with me, and he used to work at that Costco store just by chance. So the pharmacist was actually quite rude to me. Refused to do anything to help me out. She said it was my fault I didn't reconfirm, and they had changed their policy without informing me as a client. And she said it was my fault I hadn't had a prescription since 2022. And all I could see was red in my eyes. And I do not know how I didn't drop an F-bomb, but I kept my mouth shut. And I just told her, I said, lady, you're not a very kind person. You've got absolutely no compassion, and you're not taking any responsibility. I said, I'm absolutely disgusted here. And you're forcing me to go home in pain and spend another night without sleep. And her attitude was, well, I'm short-staffed. You're putting me in a bad position. I said, I don't care. You've had 2 days to deal with it. And you're putting the blame off on me. Me being in my own business, I can't do that to people, treat people like that and talk like that. And she started lipping me off, and I just told her, I said, I had enough of you. And I had all this stuff in the cart, and my son was looking at me, and he had that look like, oh no, what's Dad gonna do now? So I walked over and found somebody in a red vest. I told him what happened. Brought the supervisor over. I told her what happened. She said, okay, I'll go deal with it. She came back. The pharmacist actually lied. Instead, I said I was being abusive and I was swearing at her. It never happened. Not only that, she copped an attitude with the supervisor and wouldn't fill the prescription. Can you believe that? Can you believe it? Unbelievable. The attitude of this lady. She's supposed to be like a healthcare provider. And she's got a hair across her ass because she's not doing her job. So anyways, the supervisor spoke to my son on the side, and she recognized him, and he told her what happened without me being present. And my son's a very honest young man, and he wouldn't lie to save his breath, I tell you. So she came back and talked to me, and she says, I'm going to be dealing with this. She says, I want you to go sit down in the food court. I'm going to make sure you're going to get your prescription before you leave here, even if we're closed. So she went and actually spoke to the head manager of the store, and he came down and saw me personally. Offered to buy me a meal, but the food court was closed. He was a good guy. He was really, really upset. he says, you know, a first priority here is a customer, especially when you're in pain like you are. He gave me his humblest apologies that I was treated that way by an employee of that store. I can't say anymore. They did their best. They got me my prescription, and I was assured that there would be some action taken place. It's not my business to know what it is, but they assured me something that was going to be done. And then after they were telling me this, and I said, you know, I said, I got to tell you something. He says, what? I said, you want to hear a little story? He goes, sure. I said, earlier this week, I got some news from a doctor from having some tests done that I might have a possible heart blockage. And I said, the last thing you people would need is to me having a flippin' jammer over there because your pharmacist is feeling sorry for herself and lying about me. I said, that is really upsetting. And I said, I wasn't going to say anything to you until after we were finished this, which is what I did. And I said, you know, I've been journaling my journey on YouTube. So, I don't know, maybe they'll be watching it. Who knows? But again, I can't say well enough how well that supervisor, the first person in the red coat, the supervisor, and the store manager actually treated me to rectify the situation. I am very, very thankful for that, and you know, I appreciate it. And I know I've had some people work for me that have been some stinkers, but you know, all you can do is try and make things right. And I gotta say, I appreciate what they did. So after all that, came home, got up this morning, went to go reading at Starbucks, and I phoned my dad. I told him what happened. The old guy had the same problem with the same pharmacist. I couldn't believe it. My dad never speaks ill of anybody. And every time he goes in there now, he's got to pick something up. He says, I don't want her. He says they probably think he's racist or something. He's not going to deal with her. And you know, he doesn't have a racist bone in his body, or neither do I, especially with my kids being mixed. But yeah, I still can't get over that lady lying. You know, that's why I talk about here on my channel that, you know, especially about the whole stoicism thing about controlling your thoughts and your anger and stuff like that. You know, if I would have completely blown up and dropped a few F-bombs in that type of situation, you know, I'd have blown all my credibility all to hell. The only thing that lady could do was lie. Right? That's all she could do. You know, that's why it's so important to be honest. Tell people exactly what happened. Right? So anyways, that's the stories for me today. Okay? Please hit the like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm not telling you to turn it off today, or effing turn it off. I'm in quite a bit better mood. Anyways, okay, remember, the most important thing, to be a good person, good carnivore, good stoic, good biker, good bluesman, good rainbow warrior, and you know what, and to be a good pharmacist, you need to be kind. Be thankful. Appreciate getting up each day. Okay? I love you all. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye bye.